Hey, what's up, guys? I wanted to come on here and do a quick little review of Predator, Killer of Killers, or as I called it yesterday in a social media post, Hunter of Hunters. It's not what it's called. So I watched this yesterday right after getting home from 28 years later, and I was hoping it would be like a pick-me-up because I was a little disappointed by 28 years later, and I was hoping a really solid installment in another franchise that I like would turn my day around, and the result was mixed. I'll say this, my two main takeaways from the movie were I'm really done with the pop culture Viking that we have been portraying for the last 10 to 15 years. This stereotype of a historical Viking that has become really popular in film and TV. It's played so cartoonishly. I really can't stand it. And this character in Killer of Killers might have been the most stereotypical / worst version of that in recent years. I'm not sure that they had a Scandinavian person playing this character. It seemed like someone just really putting something on. I have the same problem with it as I had with the characters in Karate Kid Legends. What's it called? Karate Kid. I just watched it. Legends? Legacy? It's something else. We're gonna go with Legends. I think it's Legends. The same problem I had with the teenage characters in Karate Kid Legends. The biggest problem with the way they're written and acted is that they're treated like they're not real people. Vikings were just people. They weren't cartoon characters. They don't have to be performed in some extremely contrived, stagey way. They were just people. Teenagers are the same thing. In Karate Kid Legends, I think it's called. It's like the person writing it doesn't remember being a teenager, doesn't believe that they're real people. And you should never have that with teenage characters because everyone was a teenager at some point and ought to remember pretty well what that was like. Now, when it comes to Vikings, yes, I know none of us were Vikings at one point in our lives. But we understand adults, we understand tribal culture, we understand war culture. We have access points. I guess all I'm saying is they shouldn't be so contrived and so stagey. They should just be normal people who happen to be Norse. My second main takeaway was, 8 movies deep or whatever we are now, I'm a little underwhelmed by the Yautja species. They are supposed to be top of the food chain, killer of killers, best hunters in the universe, and yet every time they come into contact with a slightly clever human being, they lose. That is the plot of every movie in the Predator franchise. So if they're the best of the best only until a human being is paying attention, then are they really the best of the best? 99 times out of 100, a human being will lose against a much dumber predator here on Earth. Predatory species on Earth, you match a big predator up against a human being, 99 times out of 100, the human being will lose. So why is it that in the Predator movies, 1 out of every 4 human beings wins? The plot of the movies is always Predator catches a group of people unawares and slaughters a bunch of them, but then the main cast of characters, the group that we follow after this slaughter, somehow bests the Predator. At a way higher rate than is reasonable, human beings are beating the best hunters in the universe. Literally every time they come into contact with humans, the story ends badly for them. So I guess I need some more evidence from the movies that they are actually competent hunters and a grave threat, because they don't feel like it when, again, about 1 out of every 4 human beings beats them in a one-on-one, outsmarts them in some way. Those were my main difficulties with this movie. I did like it, though. I think I've liked every Predator movie, except for Predator 2. Out of all the movies, that one stands alone as just plain bad. There are some that are bad but good. Predator 2 is just bad, but I will watch every Predator movie that comes out. I like the concept, I like the creatures, I like some of the storytelling, but almost invariably with these movies, I go in thinking that this next one is going to be the one that really moves the needle, really turns this franchise serious, and each time I wind up just with the same experience as the one before, where it's just it was fine, it was fun, it was Predator, but it was nothing special. I think the one exception to that is Prey. Prey I had a different reaction to than I have with all of the other Predator movies. I have hopes for Badlands that it will have a similar effect on me, but Killer of Killers did not. It was more just like Predators or Shane Black's The Predator, and it was fine. I guess the one other thing I have to say is, why were all of the Yautjas in this movie like 20 feet tall? Like, without exaggerating, they were like 12 feet tall. Like 12 to 15 feet tall. Some crazy thing. They were like more in line with the size of like the engineered mutant super predator from Shane Black's movie than they were like any of the other Yautjas we've seen on screen. And it's like, okay, like cartoonish stylization, I guess, but everything else in the movie was like made to look real, like faithful to its real world counterpart. So like, why were the Yautjas so different from their counterparts in the other movies? Didn't really make sense to me. It was a cool look. I liked how it looked, but I would rather the world have internal consistency than just flashy stuff. Anyway, the movie was fun. It was a bit hokey. A lot of the character motivations were like, yeah, I don't buy it. Like in the second segment, the main character was this like pupil of a shogun in feudal Japan, and he and his brother in training were pitted against each other to duel, and he didn't want to take the duel, and his brother came after him, and after clanging swords for a minute, his brother got one swipe on his cheek and left a little slash there with the tip of his sword. And so the main character takes such harm and offense from this that he like runs away, runs out of the palace, and like crosses the river, and then apparently spends the next 20 years living 20 feet across the river and training and building and planning his whole life to come take revenge on this guy who put a tiny mark on his cheek. So 20 years later, under cover of darkness, he goes all ninjutsu and climbs into the palace and kills like a dozen people just to get in the room with his former brother in arms to square off with him. And you think he's going to kill him, but turns out he just wants to put a slash on his cheek. Apparently, the embarrassment endured as like a 12-year-old pupil was so strong that it merited killing 12 people and spending 20 years of life and preparation within arrow shots distance of this guy. Like, the whole thing was really hokey and dumb, the whole segment. The character was cool. His story just sucked. The third segment had a pretty strong character story, but it just had stuff that like logically didn't work. Like, this kid is like a natural at flying things, so he can naturally, intuitively fly this massive Yautja ship off of this prison world and take him and the other character to safety. So I'd say yes, this occupies the level of quality of the average of Predator movies over the decades, and in that sense it was a worthwhile installment. I am looking forward with greater anticipation toward Predator Badlands. If I'm being honest, I'm betting the director's heart was in that one, because this animated movie was like a sneaky project. Like, I don't remember them like announcing or promoting it at all until like a month before it released on Hulu. So it was like something they did in the dark. Maybe the director was just kind of like, he just showed up to do that one while he was really full-time heart and soul in on the other movie. I'm betting that was the case, and I'm hoping that's what comes through in the final product. Anyway, I know I've done a lot of complaining, but I'm never really dissatisfied with a Predator movie. Again, except Predator 2. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was worth a watch. It was worth the furtherance of this world of the Yautja and human interactions. So go watch it and keep up to date on Predator, because someday this guy and Fede Alvarez are going to do a crossover AVP again, and it's going to be like the best thing that ever happened in either of these two franchises. So stay with it. Thanks for tuning in, and I will bring you guys more reviews very, very soon.